Okay, you guys. So as I promised, we're gonna be doing a reaction to this movie that y'all requested not too long ago. I think a couple of days ago. Pokemon, the first movie with Linkara by Swede. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but go watch the original video, which I will put in the description down. The following aspects of Pokemon will not be discussed. Laws, the great miracle, and the great mystery. Since the beginning, fans and outsiders alike have pondered how their child independence laws apply to a fantasy world. Thank you. Somebody had to say that, because for some fucking reason, everyone seems, even some of my friends, they just can't help but try to put the laws of this world with to that of the Pokemon world, of a fantasy world, and try to make that make sense. Dude, it's not going to make sense. Stop trying to make it make sense. It's freaking stupid. I get so frustrated when people do that. It's like, it's a fantasy world for a reason. For the love of God, just because an animal thinks and acts the way you see in our world doesn't mean it's going to, like a fictional creature is going to act like that in a fantasy world. Learn to separate the two. Seriously. Age, the great miracle and the great mystery. Since the beginning, fans and alchemists alike have pondered how Ash Ketchum aged slower than Paul Rudd. Battles, the great miracle and the great mystery. Since the beginning, fans and nitpickers alike have pondered the difference between the battle mechanics of a digital world and an organic one. Thank you so much for saying that shit. Oh my God. Whew. Sweet Jesus. Because so many people, even me, we compare battle mechanics to organic monsters and digital monsters. Something's wrong with us. I think we just don't really think, especially me, we don't think about what we say sometimes because of either like bias or nostalgia, and not have logic come into play at sometimes. I'm not gonna say it's all the time. Comment on the above points at your own risk.
Synopsis. Yep, I'm finally looking at the Pokemon media that kickstarted my career. I've been agonizing about how to get back into the movies now that I've made enough money to do so, and I figure the best way to get people up to speed is to get up to speed myself with updated reviews of the first movies in the Journey style. Just like my redone review of Holiday Hijinks, be aware that a lot of the same jokes are used, just not the outdated ones. Oh, and I brought Linkara back. Yeah! Hey Linkara, a popular comic book viewer and noted Pokemon fan. Want to start us off?
If I do, will you tell me how I got here?
No promises.
No, the film opens with the big questions, that's for sure.
Life, the great miracle, and
The great mystery.
Well, that, and it's funny, they're doing the echoing whisper over pretentious narration 3 years earlier than Lord of the Rings. Honestly, if you only knew Pokemon as kiddie games, this opening must have been seriously jarring with these kind of grand illusions. I mean, what if they did this with other popular brands?
Dreams, the window to the subconscious. Wild, shifting landscapes of the mind laid bare to our barely comprehending consciousness. For years, Barbara Millicent Roberts has been told she had a house of dreams, a life of fantasy. But what good is fantasy when it's devoid of reality? Do dreams become real when one never wakes? This is her story.
This is pretty encouraging. It shows that they're willing to go in unusual directions for the subject matter, and I'm all about that. This is apparently the story of the most powerful Pokemon of all, who's being grown in a tube. So they're cloning Arceus. How very Nietzsche.
Shh, he doesn't exist yet.
Nietzsche? I'm pretty sure he does, although I suppose he'd probably debate that.
No, Arceus.
But there's an entire ancient mythology devoted to it in the Pokemon world.
Not yet, there isn't.
Linkara, Arceus has always existed.
Oh, you know what I mean. Anyway, the scientists develop a clone of the current most powerful Pokemon, Mew, and name it Mewtwo. Very creative.
Wait, did that scientist just mention Mew 3? I knew it! Pokégods are real!
Who knew that Uncle from Nintendo was right all along? Too bad when we finally see it, it'll look just like this Mewtwo, only with a feminine voice. Well, anyway, of course Mewtwo breaks free and wreaks royal havoc on the lab because it's upset at being created solely for others' experiments without any regard for its feelings. Then it kills them all.
Oh, you mean it sends them to the Shadow Realm? Or defeats them all?
No, it kills them.
It literally kills them.
Cold-blooded murder on a grand scale.
But this is Pokemon. It's a kid's show. It was localized by freaking 4Kids. They can't.
We dreamed of creating the world's strongest Pokemon.
No, he kills them. Right. He blows the lab up. Okay.
Yes, they can.
Yeah.
Dang, though, that's such a good line. It still gives me chills. Well, anyway, so Mewtwo's its own agent now, right? Nope. Post-slaughter, it's met by the financier of the Mewtwo project, Giovanni, villain of almost the entire series, 2 of the games, and based on his name, the only Italian in the Pokemon universe.
The only Italian's a crime boss?
Yeah, it could have been worse. The Japanese aren't exactly known for their sensitive portrayal of Italians. Mewtwo, who had only just finished wiping the smeared doctor intestine off his hand ball things from slaughtering an island full of scientists for only wanting to use him, agrees to be used by Giovanni for Giovanni's own ends.
Wait, what?
Well, to be fair, Giovanni does say he wants Mewtwo as a valuable ally rather than just a weapon or as an experiment.
Yeah, but Mewtwo's psychic. Shouldn't he be able to see past Giovanni's deceit?
Good point. Not to mention it doesn't even need to be psychic. I mean, it could just react like...
A wildfire destroys everything in its path. It will be the same with your powers unless you learn to control them. I can help you do that.
And then I won't need your help. Wait, let me start again.
Mind you, you don't need to be psychic to see where all this is going. Mewtwo fights for Giovanni for a while, wearing one of the coolest armor suits I've ever seen, helping the grunts catch their Pokemon. Man, Tauros are really easy to catch. Man, Ash has a bunch of Tauros, the Rocket grunts catch a bunch of Tauros, and generally being, well, a puppet, let's be serious here.
So, this is my power.
I mean, destroying an island is one thing, but throwing an Onyx, that's true domination.
However, Mewtwo, in all his infinite intelligence, doesn't figure out he's a puppet until Giovanni comes out and says it for no reason.
What is my purpose?
You were created by humans to obey humans. You could never be our equal.
Dude, that never happened.
Oh, it should have. What, he kills a lab full of scientists who want to at least use him for science, and this clod out and out says he's just using him for his body, and he just gets a slap on the wrist?
Mewtwo did destroy the facility, though.
Yeah, but for a man of his money, that's pretty much just knocking over a coffee cup for him.
Yeah, I guess in the crossover episode of the anime, Giovanni did seem more mildly put out than devastated.
That thing!
Darn it, I left the stove on. So after Mewtwo uses up another of his power points on his facility fallout attack, he heads back to the island of his origin and location of the amazing indestructible picture frame and swears vengeance on... everyone.
I will find my own purpose and purge this planet of all who oppose me.
Hey, that's a purpose.
Well, apparently he didn't add the whole genocide angle in Japanese. There it's more I'll show them all rather than I'll slaughter them all, which I feel makes him just a little more sympathetic. That might just be me. After the actually pretty darn impressive title graphics, especially for the time, finally we catch up with the protagonists of our story. Ash Ketchum, the forever young hero. Brock, the mother figure.
With Youngblood's disease, I might add. Oh crap, it's spreading!
And of course the feminine touch with a knack for reckless engagement, Misty. They're enjoying their lunch on a table and beach umbrella that seemingly appeared out of Ash's magical bottomless backpack when he's challenged by a pirate trainer. Nice to know the race announcer from the Laramie Ranch is striking out on his own. Good for him. You know, this is a decent remix of the theme, but it doesn't really have the same gravitas and immediacy as the original. I mean, if anything, they should have used this for the show and the original for the, hey, that's cheating! Multiple opposing Pokemon won't show up until the Orange Islands.
And of course, the gorgeous battle ends with Pikachu giving one of his mighty thunder attacks, defeating all 3 Pokemon at once. This is odd considering Golem is part ground type, so electric attacks shouldn't affect him. But of course, all Pokemon fans have come to accept that Ash's Pikachu fires the Thunderbolts of Zeus.
Luckily they fixed that in the remake at least, as well as the random repeated shot here. Man, that's weird. In Japanese, the pirate seems so upset about his defeat that he needs to do his Troll 2 impression to calm himself down.
Oh my god!
Wait, actually, was that a JoJo's reference? Fun fact, it's actually an American voicing him, Raymond Johnson. Living the dream, man. But even in a movie, the irresistible call to include Team Rocket is always answered, and we see Team Rocket...
By the way, I loved Raymond. I really do. I had once cosplayed as Raymond going to Otakon, and I can tell you that I enjoyed every minute of it. The only thing was the jacket that I had custom made for me was a little too small but I made it work. But yeah, I probably would just like have it redone again and just do it over again.
Oh my god!
Wait, actually, was that a JoJo's reference? Fun fact, it's actually an American voicing him, Raymond Johnson. Living the dream, man. But even in a movie, the irresistible call to include Team Rocket is always answered, and we see Team Rocket spying on the twerps. They're watching them with an eye out to steal Pikachu for no satisfyingly given reason, as per usual. Pikachu's pretty much Moby Dick for Team Rocket, huh?
We'll chase him round the Seafoam Islands and round the Whirl Island Maelstrom and round Cinnabar's flames before we get him up.
I'm starving. I can cook something.
With this frying pan that I keep clenched between my buttocks.
But yeah, it appears Mewtwo has been watching them through a hidden camera attached to a Fearow, although I'm not entirely sure how he's getting those side shots, and he sends Ash a message to come to his secluded island for a tournament. Of course, being Mewtwo, even his messages need to be as destructive as possible.
You have been chosen to join a select group of Pokemon trainers at a special gathering. If you decide to attend, you must reply at once.
Unlimited hologram technology, and they still have to tick a yes or no box, half expecting Mewtwo to ask them if they like him. So Ash is all, you know, being invited to a reclusive trainer's island mansion for some kind of unsanctioned tournament seems like a pretty dangerous game. So maybe we should just sit this one out. Really? No. Yep, they set off immediately to the island, only to find out the ferries are closed because Mewtwo has been controlling the weather.
Why would he want to do that if he wanted to test out the battle ability of the Pokemon? Fast transport through bad terrain wouldn't exactly get you badges. Except in the Orange Islands, of course.
All I know is Rayquaza's going to be ticked. So of course the ferry is cancelled. What's that you say, Linkara? Bad weather conditions?
I didn't say anything.
If only it were that lucid. No, instead the ferrymaster is all, I can't let you go out in this storm because it has been prophesied that a storm this bad would nearly destroy the world. Then what difference does it make if we go? We're dead either way, right? Silence! The prophecy goes on to say that the last time this happened, the
I'm
tears
paraphrasing,
of
but it
Pokemon
really
brought people
is
back
this
to life.
nuts.
Got it? Got it? So since that storm obviously isn't made of Pokemon tears, there's no way you'll survive. Yeah, plus the Pokemon Center isn't operating because the local Joyce card missing and it'll take weeks to clone a new one.
She's cute. She sure looks familiar.
Really? Really, Brock?
Of course, a lack of emergency services has never stopped any child ever from endangering themselves before, so off they go, with Gyarados Man getting a little too into it, if I'm being honest.
Stop at once or I'll throw my handcuffs at you!
To them, this is just one more challenge. They follow their hearts. That is what sets them apart and will make them Pokemon masters.
You hear that, kids? Reckless endangerment is okay as long as you're following your heart.
It looks like Ash and company won't be able to make it until...
I mean, as long as you have Pokemon, you should be alright.
To cross, maybe.
Strong ones.
So a chartered ferry is unable to make it through the storm, but a canoe manned by 3 rejects from How to Train Your Dragonite can.
I didn't know Vikings still existed.
They mostly live in Minnesota.
You know, it might have been corny, but I tell you, my theater loved that line. Then the remake went and turned it into a freaking advertisement.
Well, after finally making it onto the island, they are met by a mysterious woman.
My master bids thee welcome.
The trainers then meet up with the others that made it, who, for trainers, don't seem to know their Pokemon very well.
How'd you get here?
Hurricane winds are a breeze for Pidgeotto here.
Pidgeot!
Now there was the era that I was telling y'all about, the grammatical era. They mistook Pidgeot for Pidgeotto. Yeah.
My master bids thee welcome.
The trainers then meet up with the others that made it, who, for trainers, don't seem to know their Pokemon very well.
How'd you get here?
Hurricane winds are a breeze for Pidgeotto here.
Pidgeot! Sometimes you wonder if they're even trying. And Nidoqueen ain't no water type!
My Pokemon are water type.
Well, you know it can use surf, right?
Oh,
Right.
Excuse me, of course. Guess I better open my electric type gym made entirely of Smeargle then.
Okay, fine, I get it. Wait, where's the Fearow girl?
The who?
You know, the girl who took off on a Fearow to reach the island and was never seen again?
Oh,
That's dark. Speaking of which, now it's time to meet the big bad. Yo!
A Pokemon can't be a Pokemon master.
I find your lack of faith disturbing. You'd think he'd just kill them, but I guess that wouldn't be sportsmanlike. Ash is all, we gotta get out of here before he turns us into dolls and then kills us with a ball. What? We then cut to Team Rocket exploring in the background, starting a grand movie tradition. Is it just me or is this scene a visual ripoff from Star Wars?
I wouldn't know about that, but on a side note, I'd actually like to know who did the art direction of this movie.
What do you mean?
Well, look at the interior of the castle's design. It's got this whole living organism thing going for it. With the robotic arms and everything, it looks very Giger-esque and very un-Pokemon.
Well, speaking of alien and unnerving, what on earth are those tubes doing?
It looks like a Rhydon giving birth.
Oh, the sound and everything. Did Mewtwo design these things? That's pretty gross. Mind you, I guess a clone would have some pretty twisted ideas about birth.
Back where the action is, Mewtwo has decided to challenge the trainers to a match in this huge stadium using his newly born clones, and generally being really inconsistent. I don't want humans to rule over Pokemon, so I'm going to destroy the world and kill them all!
Your Pokemon will not be spared. They have disgraced themselves by serving humans.
Well, I guess that puts you at the top of your own list, Mr. Big Shot. You are pretty well subjected yourself. So after a battle with Mewtwo's clones goes about as well as can be expected, Mewtwo does what should be called his crowning glory of hypocrisy and catches the trainer's Pokemon in his own, admittedly awesome, Pokeballs. Come on, Mewtwo, you look amazing and I want to like you, but you're breaking my heart here. Speaking of heartbreaking though, does anyone else remember this scene where Meowth is caught by the machine and you see his entire life play across his face because he thinks he's going to die?
Help me!
Great Meowth, going for the Oscar there. Too bad they have to ruin it with his infamous screw-up afterwards.
There goes Alakazam!
Scyther!
Yeah, Scyther.
I'm aware that the commentary for the scene states that they actually did this on purpose to make Team Rocket seem dumb and the kids watching feel smart for getting it when they didn't. But honestly, I'm pretty sure they just got it wrong. If you squint, it really does look a bit like Alakazam. The wings look like the ears, the sides kind of look like the spoons, you know?
I guess, but 4Kids really doesn't come out of this looking good in either situation, though.
Yeah, whatever.
True.
Now that Mewtwo has his clone army and Ash has rescued the originals, it's time for the epic confrontation.
I'm still wondering why Mewtwo didn't just mind crush everyone and take their Pokemon.
Well, he has to make a point.
And then wipe their memories? Well, the big battle finally gets underway, but not before Mewtwo finally meets his match. Begun. This clone war has...
Mew says you don't prove anything by showing off a lot of special powers.
I will block all the Pokemon's special abilities using my psychic powers.
Why can't you two understand it's not right to force Pokemon to battle this way?
Ah, man, I hate this scene.
Why is that?
Oh, it's stupid. How is this fighting somehow morally wrong when they were just doing it 5 minutes
Oh,
ago?
well, maybe it's because their powers have been suppressed, so it's more physical and mean-spirited.
Hitmonlee is a friggin' fighting type Pokemon!
Yeah, I get you. Besides, what message does that send? It's okay to fight as long as you use external powers, like what, guns or knives? Oh, by the way, Linkara, guess what?
Pokemon aren't meant to fight. Not like this.
Not like this!
Okay, despite all the mocking here, I do get it. This isn't a friendly competition. It's a fight for your life and the fate of your species. It's
Right.
just that the way they present it is so broad and sappy that they make it look like all fighting is wrong, which of course is a laughable message in Pokemon. Although I do like this part where Pikachu is beating himself up. It could be taken very symbolically.
Of course, talk is cheap, but Ash is the only one to actually do something about it, giving us one of the most hardcore peaceful protests ever put to film.
You gotta stop right now!
Oh no, he's dead, etc. Though fun fact, the writer Takeshi Shudo said that Ash didn't actually die here.
Oh, well, that makes it way better. Don't worry, kids. Ash isn't dead. He's just stuck in a living shell of humanity, doomed to a prison of his own mind until the darkness takes him. If it's good enough for My Little Pony, it's good enough for Pokemon.
No, Pikachu, electric is
I
the
shouldn't
thing to
laugh.
be from.
The thing about it is, I shouldn't laugh because when I was a kid, I actually cried at this scene. I cried when the Pokemon fought each other like that, like when it was like the fought to the death, presumably because that I had gotten what that was representing, and then I had cried about Ash almost dying. So yeah. Oh God.
Get Squirtle!
Live, dang you, live!
But Chuck make episode 6.
That was stupid.
Yep, Pikachu crying over Ash is heartbreaking and iconic for a reason, but everything after that? Ugh. Arceus Ex Machina at its finest.
Well, regardless of how stupidly it happens, Mewtwo does see the error of its ways.
I have to go now. My TV special needs me. Thanks for showing me the value of human life by killing yourself, kid.
Mew and the other clones are taken away to where they can live in peace, and of course, Mewtwo wipes everyone's minds so that they learn nothing.
2 awkwardly crammed in pop songs that have nothing to do with the plot.
Now wait a minute. The soundtrack was great. Don't shit on the soundtrack. The soundtrack was really good. Also, the whole meaning behind the Pokemon tears, saving Ash. The woman literally talked about the legend about Pokemon's tears. Like, if a great tragedy happens, Pokemon have the ability to bring the lives lost back from certain tragedies. How is that dumb? They literally said that. And, like, you can't not dismiss the fact that Pokemon are essentially a more mystical form of creatures than regular animals. That's where the whole difference thing comes into play between real life animals and actual Pokemon. There is something mystical about these creatures than you would think of regular animals. I love the soundtrack. I love the soundtrack, dude.
Well, okay, if only tears could bring you back. That's kind of clever. But anyway, so that's Pokemon, the first movie. Was it good?
No!
Did we enjoy watching it?
Yes!
Yes.
Although the morals are hopelessly confused, Mewtwo can be frustrating in the wrong ways, and there are plot holes and contrivances the size of China.
Not to mention Pikachu's a wuss for fighting everyone except himself.
For a Pokemon fan, it's still cool enough to keep you going, and the nostalgic value alone is worth the price of admission.
Even though that wasn't exactly necessary for us kids in the theater. Seriously, do you remember what a freaking event this was? BK toys that got recalled, trading cards, just enormously pervasive marketing for many kids.
Yes, that's what I was giving. That's what I was saying in my video. There was so much marketing and commercials being made for this movie. Like he was just saying, Burger King toys up the ass. Like, seriously, it was not a joke. It was literally not a joke when I tell you that happened. It was literally not a joke. Literally was not.
This was BK toy.
It literally was not. Like, that was the... You can tell how old this was when looking at Burger King and, like, what's on screen. You can literally tell how old this... how long ago this happened. And also, this makes me want Burger King now. God fucking damn it. It won't be the same.
Toys that got recalled, trading cards, just enormously pervasive marketing for many kids, myself included. It was one of our first really hyped events, so yeah, we knew this wasn't just a long episode. There were also some genuinely affecting scenes bolstered by fantastic animation. I just wish they weren't facilitated by such dumb contrivances as magic tears out of nowhere.
If what you said was true, Swade, it came even more out of left field in Japanese, where there wasn't even a vague fairy tale to explain it.
I know, and it could have
Wow.
been so much better.
How do you mean?
Well, I'm pretty sure Mewtwo's near limitless power could have healed Ash. I mean, they could have kept the crying in, but how about making it so that seeing all the Pokemon cry on behalf of this mere human finally convinces Mewtwo of the error of his ways, and Mewtwo restores Ash back to life? It would have made sense and tied everything up with no confusion. Honestly, with this and his wishy-washy plans, you start to wonder whether Mewtwo even knows what he's doing.
You know, in a weird way, this actually makes sense.
What? Mewtwo is totally inconsistent and often hypocritical. It seems like all he wants to do is enact these massive schemes with no real end goal out of some twisted sense of purpose.
Swade, how old is Mewtwo?
What? Why does that matter? He's acting like a... Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
He's just a kid, isn't
That's
he?
right.
A kid born with a genetic abnormality, no peers, a crappy abusive parent, and no sense of why he even exists. He's acting out. Life sucks. Humans are killing the world. The Pokemon are part of the system, man. Let's just restart all of society. Except he actually has the immense power to accomplish it.
Wow, this does actually make a whole lot of sense, especially when you compare the Japanese version. In the dub, Mewtwo's all, humanity is the worst and Pokemon are no better for serving them, so I'm going to destroy the world and make my own master race. Which is pretty angsty in itself, but in Japan it's even more pretentious and evocative of a teenage mindset. There it's more, humans suck, they shouldn't be ruling the world, but Pokemon suck too because they let themselves be used, so they shouldn't be dominant either. Yeah, I'm confused. Let's just see who wins in a fight. I bet it's the ones I created.
Yeah, and think about that too. Mewtwo didn't have any peers, so he made his own.
Yep.
How messed up is that?
Yeah, what kind of psycho forms a group of peers based on himself?
Yeah, you can almost see what's going through his head at every point in the movie if you look at it from the point of view of a traumatized, abused child with the ability to do whatever it wanted. He doesn't want to be alone, he wants a purpose, and he doesn't want the world to be so mean anymore. It even begins to make sense that he'd pull a 180 on his views after seeing Ash sacrifice himself, since remember, he's never met a selfless person. It's It's almost heartbreaking.
So, considering the fights are epic, the designs are cool, the animation, I stress, is just gorgeous, and now Mewtwo's situation can actually be emotionally involving and even heartbreaking at points, not to mention it can also be darn funny for being so bad it's good at times, I'd say overall we can agree that if you're not a Pokemon fan, well, unfortunately there's not much for you here unless you have a group of friends around to riff on it. But if you are a Pokemon fan, it's definitely worth a watch, especially with other Poke fans. I'd give it an Ultra Ball. Flawed, but just so pretty and effortlessly memorable.
And I say that this movie doesn't suck.
Indeed. Trivia. The main scientist, who is confirmed to be Mr. Fuji, by the way, the guy from Lavender Town, looks like he was designed by Osamu Tezuka. Well, this most likely isn't a coincidence, as he bears a strong resemblance to Dr. Tenma from Astro Boy. Hey, you could almost say the situation was a reversal of Astro Boy, seeing as how the creation hates the creator rather than vice versa.
So the opening's pretty dark,
yeah,
but not as dark as it was before 4Kids changed it.
Yeah.
You're kidding.
I almost wish I was. For starters, the scientist wasn't just trying to clone Mewtwo, he was trying to clone his deceased daughter!
Yeah.
I know! In fact, there's an entire sequence where Mewtwo is in a sort of psychic limbo, interacting with the prototype clones of the starter Pokemon and the clone of the scientist's deceased daughter! I know!
Wait, hold on, let me look this up. So then there's a heartbreaking end to it all, when the earlier clones fail and leave him alone one by one until finally the daughter tells him he's more than just a clone, he's his own person, which explained why he revolted at the lab when he woke up? But that would have been awesome!
I know!
So existential dilemmas focused on what you were born into versus what you can become, and the heartbreak of losing a loved one is too much for kids to handle. But clear mass murder just because you're angry that no one likes you is A-okay.
Come on!
Heaven knows, we never got the pain of losing a loved one or fate versus choice pushed onto us in our childhood.
It still looked cool though, right?
Oh yeah, and who knows, maybe 4Kids just wanted to recreate the cinema experience.
Yeah. What?
Well, in the original release of the film in theaters in Japan, none of this was there. No explorers finding an eyelash, no dead daughter conversing with Mewtwo, just the prologue, Bubbles, and Mewtwo waking up.
Oh yeah, I think I've heard of this. Those scenes were added for what was called the Kanzenban release on VHS, almost like those special editions of Star Wars, even including added CGI. This was the version the West got for theaters, and that's when they decided to keep the explorer stuff and cut the dead daddy-daughter deal.
Yeah, which is weird, considering the new scenes were mainly made for the West's benefit.
Well, the whole thing wasn't even in the first draft, you know.
What, the daughter scenes? Yeah,
no,
I just
mean
said...
the entire intro section, all the way up to Ash. No Bubbles, no waking up, no Giovanni, nothing. This is because the movie was meant to come out pretty much right after episode 65 in Japan, but after the infamous Porygon episode, the schedules got out of whack, so they put all that excellent original stuff in as a glorified recap.
That is bizarre. Oh, and while we're talking about exposition, that out-of-left-field fairy tale the lady mentioned was also a dub-only version. In Japanese, she just talks about how the storm is really, really bad, worse than she's ever seen, and that it would be a really bad idea. It kind of makes sense that the dub put the story in there, so later events don't just come out of nowhere, but let's be honest, it still pretty much comes out of nowhere.
Weird. Oh, and before I forget, remember how you wanted to know where the freaky biomechanical design came from? Well, after reviewing a ton of the show, I might be able to help you out there. See, the writer of this movie, Takeshi Shudo, was also the head writer and general showrunner of Pokemon all the way up to Johto. He's well known in the community for having a distinct style that permeated all the episodes he personally wrote. He loved going as dark as possible, like killing a child in his previous series and making things seem intimidating and otherworldly, which I personally think helped Pokemon stand out. It was probably his influence that caused the director, and director of every single Pokemon film until recently, Kunihiko Yuyama, and the art director Katsuyoshi Kanemura to go so crazy with the designs.
That's good to know, and I like that they're dark reflections of the lab Mewtwo has grown in. That's a neat detail. Wait, he killed off a child in his last series?
Yep, the main character. 17 episodes before the series ended.
Sweet Jesus.
Anyway, remember how Mewtwo shuts off every Pokemon's special abilities in the final battle?
Not in the Japanese.
Yep. In the original, they just agree not to use their special abilities, so it's a pure strength contest, so it makes even less sense that they frame it as bad. Oh, and it was Mew's idea. Superior non-clone genes and all that.
Wow! Mew's kind of a jerk.
Yeah?
That's not even an isolated incident either. You remember Mew's rousing speech to his clone son as translated by Meowth?
Yeah, the obligatory "it's what's inside that counts" speech. It's so contrived.
Is it though?
What?
Well, in the Japanese version, Mew is actually saying something quite different.
Yeah.
Some fan translations have him saying that all clones are inferior and must perish. Luckily, this has now been widely disproven, and instead he just says that the clones are inferior and would never beat the originals.
So he's still racist, he's just not genocidally racist.
Yeah, he's basically a milkshake Mew. Such a shame. You never know with these young celebrities, do you? Though older celebrities can still surprise you. You know the voice actor from Mewtwo, Philip Bartlett?
Oh yeah, he died, didn't he? That's
oh, damn.
Wrong!
Yeah! Wait, is that a Superman Returns reference in 2019?
No, he's actually very much alive, living under his real name of Jake O.
Oh,
See,
good.
He used Philip Bartlett as a pseudonym, probably because he wasn't too keen on the role. This is also probably why he didn't return to voice Mewtwo in Mewtwo Returns, which by an absolutely staggering coincidence came out shortly after another actor whose name really was Philip Bartlett died tragically. So fans just pretty understandably really connected the dots.
Wow.
So I guess it really was one of those times where rumors of his death were greatly exaggerated.
Crazy. Hello everyone. Wow. Dang,
Wow.
Look at that. It's a brand new, freshly designed patron corner. Whoa. I fully admit it's been a long time coming, but you know, new year, new resolutions. Hopefully this one will stick. So let's go. Adam One Eye, Alexander Jensen,
Okay, so I guess it's just the rest is just for Patreon, but hold on. Well, does he say anything
Oliver,
else?
You can't have choices like this. The Dark Master, you can't get shiny. This. And Zachary Taylor, you can't run a country like this. And so, Swade begins his re-examination of the movies that inspired him as a child through fresh eyes and less dated jokes. But the journey has only just begun, and he still needs to relearn the power of one.
So, can I go now?
Not yet.
Pokemon aren't meant to fight.
Wow. But yeah, like I was saying before, that all those are facts. All that were facts, and I'm glad that him and Linkara had double confirmed down about a lot of the things that were made in that video, and not in that video, but in that movie. Like that, there was so much, so many issues going on with this movie and it being made. The West version of this movie apparently is a lot better than the original Japanese version. Who knew? Half of that was made for us, and that part about young Mewtwo was taken out in the movie. In a theatrical release. It's unfortunate, but we still have it, so it's not at the end of the world. Even though the Pokemon Company tried to like bury it underground, we will never forget. We will never forget, ever. But with that being said, that's going to be it for this one. Let me know what you guys think down below about this and about what they said. I would like to hear it. This has been Master of Sakurai. I love y'all, and I will most definitely see y'all again next time. I'm out. Peace.